Hi guys, this is Amin. Welcome to episode 4 of the 3Preet podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be getting into what it means to be an ABCD, our experiences growing up, and how we balanced our two American and Indian cultures. So first off, do you guys know what it means to be an ABCD?
I do, but I don't.
don't.
Yeah.
Like you've never heard that term? Jess?
No, only when we were like just discussing things, you would keep on bringing up ABCD, and I'm like, why are you saying the alphabet?
Okay, so ABCD stands for American Born Confused Dissy. So
That's literally me.
what do you think that means when you hear that?
I think when I think about it, it means like being in between two cultures and not figuring out which one you belong to and just being in limbo.
Yeah, so just being kind of confused. That's where the C comes from. So a little bit of background. I don't know how long this term was around for, but it was made famous in 2001 when the movie American Desi came out, which is kind of a cool movie for its time. It was looking at a bunch of second-generation Indian college kids growing up in America. So that's where the term really got famous. And then, yeah, I guess it's meant to be kind of an insult. Like, you would call someone an ABCD because they, like, don't understand their culture or they're, like, they don't really get it. But I think now we've kind of embraced, like, people who are ABCDs have embraced it and kind of made it their own. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, when you said that, it used to be like an insult. Like, I was really confused because I don't see it as an insult. I feel like the fact that there's a word that means like confused dissy, I feel like I'm a part of a group that understands like my struggles.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the part where people really embraced it. It's kind of cool to have a group of people that understand not just one side of you. They understand the American and the Indian side of you. What do you think, Harpreet?
Yeah. When I first heard the term, during that time, our parents knew of the term too,
Oh,
and
really?
I did
yeah,
not know
like
that.
my parents, they knew of the term,
Oh my
and
gosh.
I basically like my parents are like, yeah, you're confused this, you were born here, and I'm like, oh my God.
I feel
Like,
like that's so weird because out of the three of us, I feel like you resonate with the word desi and being Punjabi like the most.
Who, Harpreet?
Yeah, she's so Punjabi when you like meet her.
I mean, I don't really have a tie to Desi, but Punjabi, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't go and say like I'm Desi to someone.
I agree. I feel like the word desi just means like our whole country of India, but saying we're Punjabi just like it has more worth.
So, Desi actually doesn't just mean India. It means
Yep.
India and then all the little countries around it, like
Pakistan.
Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal. Yeah, all those people would be considered Desi.
Whoa, I did not know that at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So if we're like looking deeper into the term ABCD, it means American born. But Amin and I, we're not born here. So does this term only apply to Harpreet, who was born here?
I think this is kind of an interesting discussion to have, just like what makes an ABCD. Because if you're looking at it just from the American standpoint, like, does that mean like citizenship? Does that mean being born here? What do you think, Harpreet?
So I'm kind of gonna compare it to first generation student and being American born. So bear with me. So I think that how being first generation has different meanings. I think American born confused dissy has different meanings too. Like first generation means that you're first in your generation to go to college, but then there's like other terms of like your parents didn't go to college, but the kids did. So then ABCD, I feel like you all fit into that because you moved here within like when you were 1 or 2. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
so what do you think, this is to both of you, what do you guys think the cutoff is to be an ABCD then, based on Harpreet's definition?
I don't think there is a cutoff because you can't really be like, it's a feeling like you don't belong in either category and being confused by like if you identify as a this, if you don't identify. So I don't think you can put an age on it at all.
I mean, if someone just moved here like a day ago, they're not going to be an ABCD.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also think about like, so me and Jesse were born in India and we moved here really young, like babies. So then we really do see ourselves as ABCDs, but it could also be the opposite. What about someone who was born in America and then, I don't know, their parents sent them to like live with their grandparents back in India for the first 10 years of their life? Would they be an ABCD?
That's where I think it's interchangeable. You know what I mean? I don't think someone, so you all were raised here, and so you all can identify as an ABCD. But for someone with an opposite thing, that they were born here but then they were raised in India, I don't think they go into this category.
I
Yeah.
feel like there must be like other acronyms for depending on like where you live. I bet there's like one like an ABCD acronym for kids that were like from the States but moved to India or from like different countries and stuff. I don't think it's like a one term type of thing. I have a question. So like I don't think ABCD applies to like our parents or I would say like Matab, like Baji's kid, because those are two separate generations. I feel like ABCD only represents our generation because we're kind of like the gateway from like being full on Americans, being full on Punjabi people. What do you guys think about that?
I think, yeah, it's kind of sad, isn't it? It's like this kind of identity crisis that's so like intrinsic to being an ABCD is gonna start and end with us, right? Because
Yeah.
Matab, I don't think like so Matab is our nephew, and I don't see him having the same. Maybe he will have a little bit of it, I guess, an identity crisis, but not in the same way we did.
I think he will. I like being that Amrit was born here and Bobby was born in India. She was
Oh
born and
yeah,
raised there. And
yeah,
he will definitely have that identity crisis like we did.
yeah. So I read this book called Together Tea by, I might say her name wrong, but Marjan Kamali. And the way she described being from two different cultures is that you kind of live on the hyphen. So think about Indian dash American, Indian American. You're kind of not Indian enough. You're not American enough. You're living on the hyphen between that. And I thought that was like such a good way to look at it. And also, I don't think like she's not Indian. I think she's like Desi, but not Indian. So it's interesting because I think that this culture identity crisis is with everyone who's not necessarily from here. Like every immigrant can kind of relate to it.
I love the way she explains it, like living on the hyphen,
Yeah.
not feeling like you belong in either culture. Like I felt that my whole life, not being American enough for like school and stuff, but at the same time not being Desi or Punjabi enough at home.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just love that she explained it that way. I definitely feel like I'm living on the hyphen.
Want to know something crazy?
What?
When I finished her book Together Tea, I loved it so much that she had an Instagram, so then I commented that I loved the book and I loved that metaphor, and she like wrote me back. It was so sweet.
Wait, I remember that. I remember you freaking out that like she like wrote back to you and stuff.
Yeah,
Wait, do you have that book? Because I can't want to borrow it.
I do. You
Okay.
can. So, Harpreet, did you also have that kind of I'm not Indian enough, I'm not American enough, and how did you kind of deal with that?
I think when I first was like, oh, I'm Punjabi. Like the first thought, I'm like, oh wow, I'm Punjabi, I'm Indian. I think that thought was probably around like middle school or like late elementary to middle school. And so I felt it then, but now I don't really feel that way because I've been through that cycle. I don't know how you all feel, but like I don't feel like I'm not Indian enough or not American enough. Like I don't feel like I'm in that limbo in between anymore.
I don't think it bothers me anymore. I think that whatever I am, I'm really happy with.
I think it bothers me a lot just because, like, you guys know, whenever we get together, I'm labeled as like the most white or like the most basic. And like, I agree with that. And I just feel like I don't know. I definitely get the whole mix up of the two. I don't know where I belong. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you'll get to the point where you're comfortable with being in that spot. I don't know. I think you'll get to the point where you'll be comfortable with it, but um because you're still learning too.
Yeah, like I'm still having like trouble when people are asking me like, where are you from? What's your culture like? I never feel comfortable answering the question and being like, oh, I'm Punjabi. But I know when you guys answer, you take a lot of pride, but like I don't feel that yet.
Well, not necessarily, honestly. The where are you from? What's your culture? Like, I just find it exhausting. I'm not a spokesperson for my culture, you know? I don't
Oh,
necessarily want to get into it.
that's not what I'm talking about. I'm more or less talking about my friends who want to know more. I feel uncomfortable answering those questions just because I'm like, I don't know where I stand in the whole Punjabi community and the whole American community.
I think for a lot of people, you just find the parts of your culture you really love and you learn more about it. Like, I loved drawing Mehndi designs, and then me and Harpreet went and got some lessons at a salon in India for how to do Mehndi. So maybe start
But you
there.
guys did. It's honestly the little things that you do that you start appreciating and like also learning a lot more, and then you're just like, oh yeah, well my culture has Mendi, my culture, we have all these different colorful clothing. Like you can talk about like weddings and how those are like. And
Yeah, and you can learn more about the specifics. Like, I learned that the border on a chunni is called a gorta, and then you
Yeah.
can go and like buy them and like customize your own chunnis, and like you can become your own like Indian outfit designer for your own clothes. So you just slowly learn stuff, and then it becomes exciting because you can apply it.
Yeah. And I'm gonna need to get there. I have like another question. So growing up, like there was a moment where I kind of realized we were different than other people. What age did you guys feel more like an ABCD?
Harpreet, do you have?
I think I already touched upon it. Between elementary to middle school is where I knew that I was Punjabi, but I knew that I was already like into the westernized culture, and like I have no memory of earlier than that I knew that I was like Indian, I was Desi, I was Punjabi. I don't have those memories.
So how old were you?
Fourth grade,
Fourth grade?
I don't know
Oh,
what age that is.
yeah. So for me, I think probably in middle school, I feel like in elementary school, I just felt like a kid. And then in middle school, when people started getting like weird and mean, that's
Yeah.
probably when I kind of thought about it more.
Yeah, middle school really gets, I don't know, it sucks.
So kind of related to being an ABCD, I think every culture also has its own like what are we called? Brown no. There's coconuts Yeah, coconuts, right?
Ah, yes.
Coconuts and like Twinkies and Oreos, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think like every non-white person, non-white person growing up can kind of relate to this feeling.
Yeah, I'm a coconut. I am the most coconut person you can meet. Brown on the outside, white on the inside.
I feel like whatever is brown and brown, that's me.
Like a Kit Kat. Ferrero Rocher,
Oh, I like Kit Kat actually.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say brown and brown.
Yeah.
Fine Kit Kats.
And then just related to that, I think I'm having to balance like two different cultures. Like dating wise, that's might be like why I'm more into like dating someone who's also an ABCD because I'm tired of like always not being enough for one of them. So if you date someone who's also an ABCD, you don't have to explain anything. They get both of your sides. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's kind of hard. I think we have these conversations a lot, especially with our parents. And I'm gonna refer this to you because we're close in age, and Just Reed's just like younger than us still, and she's not gonna get married anytime soon. Not that maybe we aren't gonna get married anytime soon, whatever. Like we have these conversations with our mom and dad about like we don't want to really marry someone that's from India either because we don't have those connections that we could say like, oh, this cartoon I watched when I was little, we can't connect with them like that. And so I would want to marry someone that was in that category of A, B, C, D.
Yeah, and then it's even harder for us because we are from New Hampshire. Everyone here is white. There's like there's some Indian people, but there's like no Punjabi people.
They're just family, and though, that's not gonna happen
Yeah.
ever.
We need to start traveling, Heartbreak. Let's go hit up. Let's go hit up New Jersey and where else are they?
Ew.
Atlanta.
Texas, Atlanta. Yeah.
Atlanta. Can we go, please?
Yeah, we need to get out more.
Oh, I've been to Atlanta, and I can tell you right now, there's a lot of Indians there.
Wait, you've been there? When?
Yes. Alternative spring break.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to plan a trip ASAP after this. Thank you.
After this being Corona.
I meant this conversation.
Oh.
Nah, I'm not traveling anywhere until Corona's gone.
I mean, like, I think you'd have to travel just for the sake of traveling, right? Like, you can't
We'll just do a road trip and stay inside the car the whole
stay in
time.
the car.
And not shower. And not eat.
Never mind. I have to be able to shower. It's my number one thing.
Rent an RV.
Can we though? Can we?
Okay, so the last thing I wanted to touch on in this conversation is how would you kind of deal with this issue with your own kids? Like, I don't know if they would have this identity crisis going forward, but if they did, what would you do? What advice would you give them? And how would you would you want there to be a balance between their American side and their Indian side?
I think that our kids would definitely go through the identity crisis still. I know like with Amin and I, we know enough about our culture. I think I'm gonna talk for myself. I'm definitely gonna be teaching my kids how to speak Punjabi and all of that. So I think they're definitely gonna have that shock of like, oh, like I was born here, I have this westernized culture, and then I have my like home culture of being Punjabi and all of that. So I think they'll have it.
I think for me, I would definitely, well, first I'd have to learn more about the culture, but I would definitely instill the whole Punjabi thing. Like that's number one, like being able to speak the language. And
Yeah.
but I feel like I would be more lean on everything else. Like we had like limited freedom growing up and stuff like that, and I would just like kind of let them do whatever give them like the American lifestyle I wanted, but at the same time teach them about their culture and everything that they need to know about that.
Yeah, I agree. I would definitely want them to know how to speak Punjabi and then hopefully maybe even read and write it because there's a lot of classes at like the Gurdwara where you can learn how to do that. I know how to like kind of read it at like a very elementary level and it's really nice to be able to do that. And I think if you know the language, so much opens up to you. Like you can understand like movies, you can understand
Mhm.
music, like it's a whole nother world that opens up to you. So there's definitely value in them knowing that.
Especially like going off of that, I mean, especially learning Punjabi, we know what people are saying in Hindi too.
Yeah.
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 Like we
Yeah.
might not know how to speak it that well, but like we know what they're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And मुझे हिंदी नहीं बोलने नहीं आती but I can understand. We got to watch Bollywood movies. And that's like a huge industry, so
Yeah, I
Huh.
feel like I want my kids to be into Bollywood because, like, high key, those movies are so good.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do think that there's gonna be some kind of identity crisis, regardless of like even if they're immersed into the culture, they're still gonna have that crisis because we live in America and they're gonna experience all these other different cultures too, but mostly the westernized culture.
I
Yeah.
feel like no matter where you live, you'll have it just because, like, you want to figure out where you belong. It's kind of hard being like half.
Yeah. And then I came up with this metaphor, which I think might be perfect for this episode, but basically when you mix blue and yellow, you get green. But for like us, for like people who two different cultures, when you mix like our two different cultures together, then you might get like light green, you might get dark green, depending on how much someone identifies with
Hmm.
either culture. But you're still like a mix, you know?
Yeah. Like, do you all fear that down the line that like our culture, like our Punjabi culture will disappear if we have our chain going in the United States?
So I personally don't, and I'll tell you why I don't. I think that Punjabi culture is so tied to Sikhism, like religion is so tied to the culture that there's always going to be gurdwaras. So I think that's going to be where the culture stays alive.
I agree with that.
I'm kind of like in between. I feel like I had like a super tough time knowing that there was a difference between Punjabi and Hindi. And by the time I learned it, I was kind of old. So I don't know. We'll see how life goes. But I feel like as long as we keep the culture alive by like teaching our kids Punjabi and just talking about being Punjabi in general, we'll keep it active and out there.
Yeah, and related to that, we are kind of the most extreme example of being disconnected from your culture, right? Like you took a bunch
Yeah.
of Punjabi kids and you stuck them in New Hampshire. There's no gurdwaras around here. The closest one's an hour away near Boston. So
Yeah.
if we
Yeah.
can still keep a little bit of that culture going, then I think that if we make an effort to do it, it'll be there down the line for the following generations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like if we just speak Punjabi around our kids, they'll pick it up because we grew up speaking two languages at once. It's not like we learned one then learned the other.
Yeah, and then Matab says the cutest like things in Punjabi, like
Yeah.
whatever he wants. He says, "Oh Nana," like instead of Lana, he says Nana. And like he's already learning. Like he speaks in English, he speaks in Punjabi. Like, I don't know, I think
Yeah.
it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, day by day he's saying full sentences in Punjabi and I'm just like in awe because I mean babies pick up the language really quickly because their brains are still developing and all of that, but it's so interesting to see him say all these different words and like you may not have seen that in yourself when you were growing up, but like seeing that in real time with your nephew, your niece, like your kids, our future kids will be very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like watching your childhood like playing in front of you.
No, literally.
Okay, so I really liked the Would You Rather segment that we did last episode, so I wanted to bring that back for this one. I have probably 3 or 4 questions for you guys, and this is gonna be fun because I'm on the asking side of this for once. So,
I mean, you still have the answer.
We all know Amin doesn't like to answer.
yeah, I don't. I get stuck in the gray areas of these questions. So, okay, would you rather lose the ability to lie or believe everything you're told?
Lose the ability to lie. I am a shitty liar as it is.
I
Heartbreak.
mean, I think I'd want to lose the ability to lie.
I like rarely lie as well. Like it's just not a thing.
Can I answer this one?
Well, yeah.
Everything you're told. I don't know. Some people could mess with you if you believe everything you're told. That could get dangerous.
That's literally my life
Yeah.
story.
So
Like
lose the ability to lie.
Yeah.
Like that's like Ella Enchanted, where like whatever anyone told her to do, she had to do. I don't know. That gets dangerous. Probably lose the ability to lie. Some people are gonna not talk to me anymore, but that's fine. Ooh, okay. Would you rather look 10 years older from the neck up or the neck down?
The neck up because I literally look 12.
Really? You'd want to look 10 years older?
I look 12, so at least I'll look my age of 22.
I don't like this question. Neck down, I guess.
Damn, Harvey.
Yeah, I'd say neck down because you could just cover up. It'd be kind of awkward with like, a partner, but.
Oh my god.
Okay, last one. I'm stuck between 2, so maybe I'll just ask you both. First one, would you rather have 3 kids and no money or no kids with $3 million?
No kids with $3 million. That's so easy.
I think this is tying back to The Simpsons, but
I mean, like, if we're gonna get technical, no kids with 3 million, but then I could
adopt.
Buy a kid? I feel like Harper was going there.
No.
Harper's just getting Punjabi kids left and right.
You need to cut this data.
Okay, so last question. Would you rather be the funniest person in the room or the most intelligent?
I'd rather be funny.
I would rather be intelligent. I mean, I know you're gonna say intelligent.
I'm not, though.
No, but it's like a would you rather.
That's the thing. I wouldn't want to pick. Because, okay, if you're the funniest person in the room, then you can probably make a career out of that. And then you can, like, become famous and rich and, like, have a great life, right? And if you're the most intelligent, then you'll find another way to, like, become all of those things. But, I don't know. Isn't there studies that say that, like, the smarter you are, like, the more unhappy? So, I'm kind of stuck.
Damn.
Okay, fine. Most intelligent. Fine.
Y'all are
I don't know.
boring.
Yeah. What? No? I feel like I'm usually not the most intelligent person in the room, so I'd love to be once.
I didn't like this question either, so.
Herbert, you can't keep saying you don't like the questions.
I already answered. I just said it after.
I mean, that was literally you last week.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Hypocrite.
I'm gonna keep all of this in. I'm not editing this out.
That's fine.
Okay, that is it for this week's Would You Rather. Alright guys, that wraps up our episode for today. Now I'm gonna throw it to S1E4, who's gonna let you know what we're gonna talk about next week.
Okay, guys, so next week we're going to be talking about American versus Indian fashion, how we were expected to dress growing up versus what we wear now.
All right, thanks for listening. Bye.
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 Our face.